Everyone to the third FOREXT Friday. My name is Mark Pryor. I'm the Area Director of the Forestry Commission in England, but also the Chair of the FOREXT Network. So today we're going to hear from the Finnish Forest Centre, and Anssi Niskanen is going to facilitate for us. But first of all, I'm just going to say a few words, as is usual, about the FOREXT Network. So the network, if I can make this work. Sorry, yes, it's there. So the network was set up and started formally in October 2019. We're currently 14 member organisations with some observer organisations facilitated by the European Forestry Institute. And as you can see, we have had a few meetings in a couple of years leading up to that to develop the process. There's an idea of the members. We've got a fairly good spread around Europe, but we always would welcome new members. And the idea is that the members do fund the support we get from EFI. So the sort of things we aim to do to help the members are basically building capacity to support private forest owners around Europe. And obviously there's a range of things there which we can support with and trying, initially knowledge exchange, but everything from forest management planning to supporting setting up of forest associations and marketing. So hopefully, sorry, my machine isn't working particularly well at the moment. This year we decided, following the COVID emergency and the difficulty of meeting up face-to-face to run these Forest Fridays. So this is the third one, and we have the next one on the 30th of April is going to be facilitated by, very difficult word to say, around Sakus. Basically, we're going to hear about the Estonian sort of Estonian forestry and also sort of trends for the future, and how they go about supporting forest owners. So that'll be interesting. I'm now going to also just finally, if you want to find out more about it, anyone who aren't members, then Natasha is the key person at EFI to find out more about it. So I'm now going to pass over to Anssi, who's going to facilitate today's meeting. Thank you, Anssi.
Thank you, Mark, and thank you for everyone who has joined the meeting and then the FOREXT Friday to hear of our experiences on some of our work with what we do in Finnish Forest Centre. And as Mark said, there's one aim of the network of the knowledge exchange, and I certainly hope that you will benefit from the experiences of what we have had here in Finland. I have only a few slides, 3 to be precise, which I will show and then hand the floor to Anna and Jyrki. But before that, I hope you will get an access to some of the slides I have prepared. Well, obviously it's Friday, since it is FOREXT Friday 26th already, and in different parts of Europe the spring is coming, but not in this part of the world. This could be from where I live and where most of us are in the eastern Finland here. We have still 0.5 meter of snow, and lakes and rivers, they are still ice covered. But it's particularly nice time of the year. You still have the feeling of winter, but summer is coming. I hope you will someday, when this crisis of corona is behind, have a chance to come and see this by yourself. One slide, our organization in a nutshell. We are some 550 employees, which means that we are a relatively large organization. But many of you know already that forestry in Finland is very important and very large field of business and environment. Therefore, of course, there's a lot of emphasis put on its administration and improvement. Our turnover is 45 million euros annually, and it's purely state or project funding. We don't have any private businesses. Our work is divided in 3 parts. One is forest and more and more environmental data collection, and to make it available to different uses, like to forest owners, businesses, and other sectors. And if I pick only one trend from there, it is that forest and environment information, it is collected more and more often, regularly certainly, but like we did that earlier in 10 years interval, we have started collecting information in 6-year interval. And that means 2 million hectares per year. And that is, by the way, 1/4 of the land area of Austria. So we manage every year to collect and distribute 1/4 of the land area of Austria to the forest owners and businesses. That's a demanding task, and of course there's a lot of development on automatization and airborne data collection and so forth. Second is our main task is enforcing the forest legislation and administering the public support for forestry and environment. And if picking again one trend only there, it's the automatization of decision making. And I have used this example earlier that when we have the forest information on a compartment level that fits well for the announcement on forest use or the application for public support, and all details are in order and okay. The decision making what we have automatized, it doesn't take 24 days, not even 24 hours, and not even 24 minutes. It sometimes takes only 24 seconds when the decision is made and distributed to the applicants. And then another trend is the remote control, where Anna Rakemaa, my colleague from FFC, is presenting today. And third task what we have is the promotion of forest-based livelihoods, including forest owners, but also the businesses based on forests. And there we do education, guidance. We have some e-tools to forest owners and small companies especially. We have a lot of partnerships and regional forest programs, which is today introduced by my colleague Jyrki Haataja to you. And if picking one trend again there, looking to future, it's that we emphasize more and more customer-tailored, customer-based services, and increasingly we connect that to e-services via the internet. So you see, digitalization and customer-based approach, it's increasingly viable in our development planning. And last program to get into business is the logic of the program. Anna Rakemaa, Forest Director of the Finnish Forest Centre, will illustrate you the digital monitoring of forest use. Then we have some questions with the Mentimeter, and then Jyrki Haataja will illustrate the Finland's forest strategies, and especially maybe emphasizing the regional forest programs, which I'm very proud to say we just completed 14 regional forest programs by the end of last year. They were accepted by the regional forest councils, and that was kind of a demanding task what we did last year. And then at the end, Mark, Minna or Natasha will say a few words about the next FOREXT Friday in April. But Anna, I noticed you are on board. I will give you the floor, and it will be interesting to hear your points on the digital monitoring of forest use.
Okay.
Here.
Yes, glad to be here in the FOREXT meeting. First time for me. I will put my presentation here.
Yes, it's visible.
Thank you. That would have been my question, but thanks for. Okay, so I'm working with the forest inventories and forest legislation in our Forest Centre, and I'm going to tell you about the digital monitoring of forest, mainly based on the legislation, but also a few other things. And I don't know how familiar you are with other countries' practices in forestry, but when I'm talking about this digital monitoring, I'm mostly talking about the aspects that we looked after in according to the Forest Act. And the Forest Act is our primary act regulating the use of commercial forests. And there are a few things, there are other things, but these are the main things. That in the act it's stated that you have regeneration obligation after final felling in areas over 1.3 hectares, and after the final felling, if you have the regeneration, the regeneration obligation means that you have 10 to 25 years time to produce sufficiently dense seedling stand. And I understand that that can seem as a pretty long time, but it also covers the natural regeneration in northern Finland, and therefore the time can be a long time. And then when you have to do the sufficiently dense seedling stand, it means that the seedlings must be evenly distributed. Average height should be 1.5 meters, and there should be no immediate threat to the seedlings by other vegetation. And then the act also concerns the intermediate fellings, and after the immediate felling has been done, the tree stand should be sufficient and evenly distributed stand, and the growth potential should still be left in the area. And then what's very important is also that we have a decree, the 10th decree, that states on the habitats of special importance, which are mainly to do with different aspects of for biodiversity in boreal forests, and those areas should be preserved in harvesting action. And then when you are doing, if you are going to cut your forest, then you'll have to do a harvest notification for us, and then that's like basis for our monitoring system. So we get last year we got about 122,000 of these notifications. They were they covered about 490,000 hectares of forest. They are mostly intermediate fellings, and when we get these notifications, we automatically inspect them against our forest stand data. Then we have habitat data, our own data, and also the habitat and species data from environmental agency. We have land use planning data from communities and municipalities and regions that are the bodies responsible for planning. And then, of course, we check the notification against the ownership register that we actually get from the land survey agency. And then if you do the notification, then you'll have, if it's final felling, you will have to tell how you are going to do what's your plan for the regeneration, so that we also check against the forest stand and site data. And 1.2% of these notifications are checked before harvest by field. so field inspection, and that's not automatic, that's just manual work. But then we do this after monitoring after cutting. We do with the Sentinel satellite change detection, and that covers all forest area. And we look for areas that have been cut but are missing the there's cutting nosing, but the notice, harvest notice. And then we of course look for areas where we have these habitats of special importance, if the harvest has been is overlapping with these areas. And then we are very interested in waterfront areas. And that's one method of monitoring, and the other one is then that we do drone inspections, and that we mostly focus on regeneration fellings, and on those we check on the are the work done according to our forest legislation, but also we are very interested in the quality of the harvesting. And last year we were also checking the quality and maintenance of state-funded regeneration. So we also give subsidies for silviculture. And then if you get subsidies for silviculture, then you need to you have an obligation to produce the work that you have been given the application, the funds for. So we also check that those have been done, and those were the things that we were looking into last year. So we did about 1,000 inspections last year, and we also look for the quality of the we call its nature aspects on these cutting areas. So how many trees have been left there for retention trees, and what has happened to the species and habitats of special importance. But I have some pictures, so it might be easier to understand. So this is the thing. So we get this harvest notice from a forest owner or from a forest company, and then we check it against our database. This is the flying squirrel. That's often the case that needs to be addressed, and this is done automatically. And if it's if the harvest notice is situated in an area where we have these species or special habitats, or it borders or is close enough to such place, then we send the information to the environment and other local agencies, authorities. For example, there are a few things that the municipalities are responsible for. We don't, in Forestry Centre, we are not responsible for the enforcement of the Environmental Act, so that's why we send it to the other official. And then after this notice, the harvest is done. If everything is okay and they can do the harvest according to the advice from us and from the environmental authorities. Sorry about my English. I've been doing this writing this in English late last night, and I find it a bit confusing, my English there, but no, you get the idea. So this is then the satellite picture of this harvest area. We get this continuous cover of the satellite image change detection pictures from the spring to the up until the time that the snow comes. You can't get the pictures in the snow time because you can't see anything else than snow. So, but during the time when the growth season is on, then we get this. And now this is this method can detect the change in between two different time periods pictures. So then it compares to the pictures from two different times and finds a change, and then it's identified here. Then we put our harvest notice database, compare it to our harvest notice register, and if we find it, then everything is fine. And in this one, it seems to be almost in the same area, which is always plus. And then if we have areas without harvest notice, of course, those ones we start to investigate more detailed, and then we'll go on with another process. And this seems to be okay. We have the notice, and then we go. Then our system makes a compulsory field inspection based on our qualifications, and in this case, there is an in the area there is an habitat of special importance. And in this picture, we can see it. Okay. Here let's see if there is still one. This is the sentinel picture once again. So we have here in the green line is the harvest notice. Then the purple one up in the corner of the picture is the habitat of special importance, which in this case is natural spring. And then the yellow picture with the kind of edgy line is the sentinel change detection. And this is interesting. If you can see this picture, there is the case that the harvest notification has put this biodiversity habitat outside of the cutting area, but then the yellow, which is the sentinel change detection, shows us that it actually has been operated on, and therefore it is going to be a mandatory inspection for our. We have a virtual inspection team that goes these through, and then they also put them in field inspection if it's necessary, and they can't make a decision based on the picture. Then after this, you saw here we have this drone picture of the drone, so we can go and do more detailed inspection by drone. And this is a drone picture showing the whole cutting area. And here are the yellow dots are trees that are left there for biodiversity. And then the orange dotted line is the plant harvest line. And then the blue is the actual harvest line. And then, of course, there is the habitat of special interest in the right-hand corner, upper corner. And here we can see that the actual harvest has nicely left it alone, for example. And then with the drone, we can also get, with the drone pictures, we can also get the decaying wood. We haven't not been able to make an automatic measurement of the decaying wood, but the decaying wood is very important for biodiversity in our forest, and therefore we are interested to know how much of decaying wood is left on the harvesting area. But we can get some measurements we can do then by hand on the computer from these trees. And this is we can get a good information of the tree groups that are left for biodiversity reasons. We get dead and alive trees and conifers and broadleaf trees. And here we see in this one is, for example, is 52 trees, and they are 19 meters high, and average diameter on breast height is 21 centimeter. So this is good information for us and also for the forest owner and for the company, that how well they have succeeded in planning this and fulfilling this cutting. In this case, we have the blue dotted line is creek, and the creeks are some of the creeks are depending of the type of the creek and the vegetation next to the creek are considered as habitats of special interest in our Forest Act, and you should leave at least 20 meters buffer zone next to the creek, and in this case we see that that's not the. It should have been left so far. So this has been cut too close, and then we will investigate it more closely. And also there's another case similar to this. It's very. And then this is a picture we are also when we are looking at the quality of the harvest, and we can check on how the soil preparation has been done. And here we have another ditch, which is not the habitat of special interest because it's been manually ditched, and then there isn't not the type of vegetation that should be. But here we see that the soil preparation has been done really close to the ditch, and you should also leave a buffer zone against the waterway. And this is in Finnish, but this is another satellite. Our satellite detection had picked this up, and this is interesting because the red dotted lined area is actually a protection area, and with this we can and then the white line is the cutting notification, and then the orange is of course the satellite detection line, and then we know that the cutting has gone a bit into the protection area, so about 10 meters too deep. So that's something then that has to be addressed to the environmental agency. These are just 3D images that we also get from the drone. And then we get when we are assessing the quality of the harvest, we also get the stand volume after intermediate felling. So here on the left in Finnish is the red ones that are under the what is it in English? Harvesting model, and then what would be ideal, and then the green is according to the harvesting model, and then the blue one is more than it should be. And this is of course if you go harvesting and it's harvested all the way in such way that there is too little trees, then of course we have to check if it's still okay against our forest legislation. And then we get also these tracks, working tracks we can see from these drone pictures, and here we check the depth of the tracks if they are acceptable or not, for example. And all this reporting that we get from these monitoring practices that we do is available. The pictures and images are available for forest owners in Metsänfi service. And then also this report on quality of the harvest and other inspections is given to the harvest operator. We have an online reporting service where when we get this inspection done, it goes there directly, so they get it almost in real time, the information that we do. So continuously they get the reports from their work. So that was my presentation.
Thank you, Anna. Very nice images illustrating the new methods what we use in monitoring the forestry activities in the field. Before Menti, I have one question, Anna, to you. you illustrated the use of Sentinel satellite images and drones. Obviously, they improve the efficiency and the accuracy of the monitoring, but what is your feeling or experience? Will these more accurate and up-to-date information, will they have influence on the forest operations in the forest? That they are better environmentally sound.
I think this is a very good method for improving the quality, because you get this kind of information of your own operation, and then it's also valued if it's done well or if it's done poorly. So it's really easy to give for the harvester driver or for the buyer, or maybe explain to the forest owner that this was done very well, and Forestry Centre also thinks so. It's a good way, and we have. I know they've been doing this satellite detection in Sweden for a long time, and we've just done it for a few years, and we see already now that the quality of the harvest notification, how accurate they are drawn, and what things are considered, have proved. So I'm certain that everybody will benefit from this.
Yeah, and for sure they will be delighted to have the information how well they operate in their process. Yeah. Natasha, do we have now a few questions concerning this this presentation?
Yes, feel free to raise your hand or speak up, or yes, it's better to give the questions now while everything is still fresh before we start with the Menti session, of course. Or raise your hand, or just please speak up if you want to ask Anna. Thank you very much for the really interesting presentation.
Maybe we can have this the questions if there are no. Well, there's one.
Yes.
Alar.
Yes, thank you. I have a question about this inspecting the areas of the harvest. Anna said that the areas are compared with Sentinel satellite data, and about the satellite data compares the land use changes. I wonder if these areas are controlled automatically, or for all over Finland, even the areas that don't have harvesting permission, or are only areas with harvesting permissions controlled?
No, all area. All area with the forest, we control all the area, and then we compare to our data. And if we find an area that has been harvested and doesn't have this notification, then of course it's illegal logging.
Okay, thank you.
Any other?
There is one more from Roland. Would you like to pose it by yourself, or I can read it? He was wondering how the drone was working out the number of the trees, height, and that. Okay,
well, the drone does the takes the pictures, and then there is actually we are working with the companies that we have developed together this method, that then from the data they will produce this information that we want.
Yeah.
And actually I sent an YouTube video telling about the development of this method with the companies. It's Mosaic Meal company that does this work for us from the drones.
Maybe the last question on this, and then we go to Menti questions. On to Mark, please.
Yes, Anna, thank you. That's really interesting. I'm just wondering what the costs are involved, and how does it compare to more traditional ways of regulating and inspections?
Well, I can say that it costs about 200 to 300 euros every time our guy goes out for a field visit. So with that amount of money, we can pretty much use a lot of technology, and it will be cheaper. But of course, you are very right that it takes quite some money to develop these methods.
Very interesting, thank you.
So Natasha, could we have these Menti questions now?
Yes, I already posted them in the chat, so please log into the link that I have shared and insert a password, and you are able to see it, I hope, already on my screen. I'm sharing it live how they go about.
So in the discussion part, there is this Mentimeter address and then the password that we can use.
Yes. Hopefully, when you're ready, we can go on the next slide. There is one more question, but feel free to take your time and respond. So the question is digital monitoring of forests US as a topic. So how interesting is it? So we already have certain responses. I guess, yeah, it's quite highly interesting to the most. And then we can go to the next question, and you can see that, well, the state of the art of digital monitoring in respective countries, planned in different ways. So somewhere is existing, somewhere is under development, and some people don't know about it. Yeah. Right. Well, thank you very much for the interest. And then please, Anssi, I'll stop sharing now my screen.
So
please feel free.
Okay, so you saw the results. I was there still in the Mentimeter. I didn't notice if we got any summary there. But anyway, should we go on, Natasha, now?
Yes, feel free.
Okay.
Feel free. We can
Thanks.
share the results also after the session with everyone. Yeah.
Great. Thank you, Anna. It was nice to have your illustrated images, first of all, and then as we heard, the topic is very relevant in the modern world of digitalization. But now we go forward. Jyrki Haataja, you are sitting, I know this in one of our offices. Our organization is 100 years old, and the former directors of our one regional part of our organization and the former directors and chairman are on the wall there. So you are, Jyrki, you are in the middle of history there, please.
Yes, in the middle of history and hopefully making new history. Yes, I just first try to share my screen. I hope you see now first slide.
Yes, it's visible.
Okay, then I start. Hello everyone, my name is Jyrki Haataja and I work as a senior expert on regional development in Metsäkeskus, and I will now tell you shortly about the Finland's forest strategies, why they exist, and what have we done here in Finland. So, content of the presentation is shortly about the background for the about this thing, then shortly about the Finnish National Forest Program that we have at the moment, and then I will go to the our regional forest programs. But at the first, why do we have these different strategies? The economic importance of forest in Finland is exceptionally great. We have about 65,000 employed people in forestry, and 20% of our export is based on the forest products. So it's economically for the Finland, it is very important. Also, more than 600,000 people own forest in Finland, so it is one out of 10 people is a forest owner, and those who don't own themselves forest, forest means them a lot. People in Finland goes to forest, also collect berries, mushrooms, or just to have nice outdoor life in multiple ways. So not just forestry incomes, but it is a recreation and environment for other businesses too. So because of this, we have a lot of policy tools that are related to the forest. We have legislation. First Forest Act was given 1886, and we have strategies and programs that covers forests, and then there are financial incentives, and also Finnish Forest Centre and other extension organizations. For example, Finnish Forest Centre cover the whole country with our services. So this pair of pictures tells me how my mind, it tells about the change that these legislation and programs and so on have created. Over 100 years ago, Finland was a poor agricultural country because there was no value for wood. Wood was used to the fuel wood and construction, and forests were also burned for cultivation. But the development of forest industries increased the forest wood value, and step by step we shifted towards forest management and sustainable forestry. So these exploded burn cultivation areas have been turned to sustainable utilized forests. So those legislation and strategies and so on, they really have done this. Now I go to shortly about our current national forest strategy, which aims the growth and overall welfare. The vision is this growing welfare, and the goals are sustainable and diverse active use of forest, a competitive operating environment, and renewal of forest-based businesses, new products, new methods, and so on. Strategy is implemented through strategic project portfolio, and the projects are funded from public funds, and these NFS projects, they are national projects, and they are also connected to the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. So here we have just 3 examples of those strategic projects, which goals they are following. National strategy has links to many other strategies and programs, national and international, and it reconciles those which are connected to forests and forestry. And also this national strategy is put in practice in regional level by our regional forest programs. As mentioned, these are obligatory programs. Forest Act says that these regional forest programs draws up in cooperation with the forest sector, or they must be drawn up in cooperation with the forest sector and other forest utilizers. And in the act that is concerning about our Finnish Forest Centre, there is said that 14 regional forest councils are responsible in creating these regional programs. So here is the map of Finland, and here you can see the regions. Forest programs are made for single region or area that is formed from 2 regions. So totally we created last year 14 regional forest programs. And what are the the overall focus? The overall focus is this overall sustainability in the use of forests. So this overall means the economic, social, environmental and cultural sustainability, and also growing business for all those who are utilizing forests. And the key objectives are growing benefits, more competitive operating environment, and overall sustainable forest use, as it is part of the climate solution. So we see that with our programs and with the actions of the forest sector is not the problem, but it is part of the climate solution. And for to get the programs approach the forest as a whole, we created the programs with this way that we set up 3 preparation groups in all 14 program areas. Those groups were wood, that was concentrating wood-based activities. Then there was this non-wood, where forest is an operating field, for example, tourism, berries, ecosystem services, and so on. And the third group was environment, which was focusing on biodiversity and so on. So we wanted to get holistic picture, different forest users, different forest use, and then reconcile different objectives to our regional forest programs. So with the, due to this project, these regional forest programs are joint work programs for the whole entire forest sector in the region, and it is directing the development of the forest sector in there. So the programs describe objectives and measures of the forest sector regional development, and the objectives and measures are in line with local needs and circumstances. As you know, in Lapland, the view is totally different than in the, let's say, south coast of Finland. So that's why we have 14 programs. The regions are different. And when we finished the programs, or when they were ready, we created the monitoring and implementation groups that are following the implementing of the programs and give support for the forest councils in their work. Forest council follow also the implementation, and they make annual prioritization for the actions that are carried out in the region. And also we are monitoring yearly the implementation performance of the 10 action lines that we have in every forest programs. There is this scale from plus to minus, 5 steps scale we have. There is one example of different regional operating environment. In this picture you can see the net incomes of the private forest owners per hectare in Finland. You can see that in the south it can be net income can be over 250 euros, and in Lapland it is 40 euros. So this tells that the forest and other forest use varies a lot in different parts of the Finland, and that of course is one of the bases that we have specific programs, specific actions, and specific aims in different parts of Finland. So we adopted these action in the regional forest program action lines. We adapted them from the national forest strategy, their strategic projects. You can see there that those projects or our action lines covers not just the ordinary forestry, but there is also nature management, climate sustainable forestry, new wood-based products, nature tourism, natural product sector, other nature-based services, and so on. So they are these programs are really a holistic approach how to use the forests in creating more good for people and for the regions. As I said, we have 14 regional forest programs where you can find them. Here is the web address of our programs. They were published December last year, and they are there in Finnish and Swedish. Some of them are in Swedish also. They are not translated into English, but if and when you want to get to know what is included in each of those 14 programs, you can download the PDF document from this link or this page, and you can load this PDF then to the Google Translator. I tried it today, and Google Translator really gets quite nice translation, at least in English. I didn't try any other languages, but when you want to get to know exactly what is in these programs, go to this page, load the PDF document, and then load it to the Google Translator, and you can see how different they are, what actions, what concrete actions they include. We also made something new. We adopted a new way to promote regional forest programs, these story maps. We made every program is transferred to the story map, and they have some nice utilities that we thought it was worth of doing it, and we want to enrich the story and add different audiences' interest to our regional programs. They are only in Finnish. Then we also made a brochure that is giving the main information about about the programs. This is in Finnish, Swedish and English. Unfortunately, I can't give you the link at the moment because our Finnish Forest Centre web pages have been renewed and they were released this week, and they are at the moment they are only in Finnish. Other language versions are coming during this spring, so unfortunately. But at the end, I said that why I wanted to tell this story for you is that in Finland we try to increase and secure possibilities for overall sustainable forestry and other use of forestry. We believe that the correct national policy and regional forest programs are right tools in this. In the regional forest strategies, forest programs, we have holistic approach, wide proactive cooperation in the regions, and joint regional work programs that are implemented in cooperation in the regions. So I think this will help us for better forest future in the regions. Thank you.
Thank you, Jyrki. Thank you for the presentation, and also thank you for the great coordination of the preparation of these 14 regional forest programs. That was a demanding task. Thank you for that. Though it is soon 3 o'clock here in Finland and the time schedule is getting up, if there are maybe 1 or 2 questions, there would be still time before the Mentimeter questions on those. If you just raise your hand and I will see the yellow hand coming up. I don't see. Well, anyway, I think the presentation will be available, and like Jyrki said, you can have access to these PDF versions, and if you use the Google Translator, that will at least give you a sufficient idea what the programs include. I don't expect you to read all 14 of them, but if you can have a look at one of them, thank you in advance. Natasha, can we have these questions now? Is it possible?
Yes, I started sharing my screen. Can you see it? And I also shared the link in the chat, so please feel free to log in and insert a password so you can.
And the password is 8875, and so I copy it. Go there.
I hope you can see also the results coming in live on the screen. Can you see my screen?
I can see it at least.
Yes, okay. So you can see them live. Hopefully, yes, once they are. We see that we have some answers, we can go forward with the next question. So this is country's national forest strategy importance, if there is any, and how important would be to have one if there isn't any.
Obvious conclusion, if you have, you feel it important. If you don't have, you don't feel it so important.
It seems so, yes. Okay, we can go to the next question. Yes, if your country has a national forestry strategy, and what is it called? So, and this is an open-ended question, so yes, please write the name. And as previously, I will share the results from the previous Menti. All right, I guess we are done. Or is there any more? Okay.
This is interesting. Metsäandruse arengukava. That needs Google Translator as well, I think.
Possibly tree action, yeah. Okay, that's coming. And then I have inserted to the other Menti. So the link in the chat for the regional forest sector promotion Menti. So please go there and insert your questions, and hopefully you can see. Can you see it to my presentation on the slides? Yeah, they are live now.
Okay, Jyrki, obviously you have been able to convince us that if there's no regional forest programs, it should be available outside the national forest program. I think it was 2.6 earlier, now it is 3.3.
All right. Yeah, please feel free to insert your responses to it before we go to the next question, because I see only we have 3 responses. And then the next question will be, are there regional forest sector promotion programs or similar in your country? And under what name and regional division are they in? So this is also an open-ended questions for you to respond. So really rarely. Oh well, it's a pity.
Yes, there are no regional forest programs that us, the participants, are so much aware.
All right. Well, thank you very much for your participation and responses.
There's one, Gloucestershire tree strategy.
Oh, there is one more.
If I said Gloucestershire in a different way, but it's a difficult word, must admit.
All right. So I will stop sharing now and I give the floor to you, Anssi.
Yes, and I agree with Mark that I will just close the meeting here soon. But before that, I still like to come back on the first part of the Forest Friday today. It was about learning from the others, sharing the experiences. I hope you have enjoyed and learned and had some views on what things we do in our country related to private forestry, and I hope it has had some benefit to you. But remember, the next FOREXT Friday will be on the April 13th. So in the eve of the 1st of May, one day before the 1st of May. So don't start celebrating yet then in the afternoon, but join the FOREXT Friday on the 13th of April.